Welcome everyone once again to A.O.S Academy. I'm so glad to actually be having you on our YouTube channel today once again. If you would like to learn about Canada immigration, IELTS preparation, TEP Canada preparation, and even research assistance, then try as much as possible to like and share this video. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And today we are going to be continuing with our Talk with A.O.S series, which we have started for quite a while now. We have been talking extensively on the questions that were asked by attendees about our Canada immigration webinar, the one we had on December the 17th, 2022. And a lot of questions have been coming in. We have had about 80 questions right now being shared on the platform. And that means that we have to actually respond to them, though we have not been able to respond to them on the webinar on that day. So we want to use this medium to be sharing our own insights based on the questions. So our question for today is going to be a question not even from the webinar, but from a person that actually sent his question to us after he registered on the webinar on WhatsApp. And he actually asked that his question was, okay, Vijay, his name is Vijay from India, is a Nigerian expatriate. He lives in Nigeria, specifically in Lagos, Nigeria, but he is from India. You understand, he's a skilled worker from India, and his family, as he said when we were talking, has actually relocated to Canada. He assisted them to move, but he himself has not yet moved. So he asked the question when he reached out to me on WhatsApp that is it worth going to Canada keeping in mind high inflation out there now? And that is a very wonderful question because a lot of people don't even know how inflation does affect them, how they could benefit from inflation, even though it may be counterintuitive, and how exactly they can assist themselves in not just getting a good job, but improving on their own inflation rates, especially when it comes to different countries. So, firstly, I would like to explain what is inflation. What do you understand, or what can we say inflation really is? Now, basically, to make it simple, to simplify it, when we're talking about inflation, inflation can be said to be the increase of the average prices of goods and services, you understand, in a particular location. And as he asked, the inflation that is out there, specifically in Canada, if we are to kind of differentiate between the inflation in Canada and the inflation in Nigeria, for instance, in order to answer his question, we will see that currently, the year 2022, December 2022, the inflation rate we have in Canada is within, or is it has always been within 3 to 5%. And currently we have 4.6% inflation. That means there has been an increment of the purchasing power, the goods and services, the prices of the goods and services in Canada with about 4.6%. Now let's put that in, you understand? Let's explain that with the help of an illustration. If you are to buy, for instance, maybe a phone, a mobile phone in Canada right now, and maybe initially it was sold for about $1,000. That means if you are to buy that same phone, maybe like an iPhone, for instance, if you are to buy that same phone, maybe another in the following month, you will be spending an additional 4.6%. And if we are to look at that, 10% of the $1,000 is roughly $100. But a 5% of that is going to be $50. That means you'll be spending about $1,046 or $1,050 the next month, or maybe the next 2 months, to actually purchase that same phone. Now, what's that telling you? That's telling you that there has been an increment of the purchasing, the cost of that particular good, the cost of that particular product in Canada. Now, if we are to look at the difference between the Canada inflation and the Nigerian inflation, according to the government, what they call it, the government newspaper, I think that's Guardian newspaper, it states that the inflation in Nigeria is 21.9%. Now, what's that telling you? That's telling you that according to the Guardian newspaper, I'm not saying that, I'm not the one saying that. The Guardian newspapers are stating the facts for us, and even the government agency that's responsible for economics and things related to the society, are actually telling us that In Nigeria, we have 21.9% inflation rate. That means, still using the analogy of the phone or the $1,000. Let's say now the 1,000 naira instead of the $1,000. Let's say 1,000 naira. If you are buying something of 1,000 naira now, do you understand? And you want to buy it maybe a month time, 2 months time, that 1,000 naira you used to buy that particular thing, after that month, it would increase to, there will be an increment, like a 20% increment, let's say. So you have to buy that thing that you bought for 1,000 in the first month for 1,200 in the next month, or 1,210 naira in the next month. And in fact, I'm being conservative because we have seen inflation really work, especially when we're in Nigeria. We have seen it work very well. There are sometimes you go to the market, what your 1,000 can buy, you understand, that particular month, you may have 1,500 and it's not going to buy that same thing. Do you understand? It's not going to buy that same thing again after that 1 month or 2 months. So what's that telling you? That's telling you that even though inflation is out there, it is in Nigeria. The fact that it's a third world country does not mean it's not in Nigeria, or inflation is not affecting us. It is affecting us as well. The commoner, the middle class, and even the rich is affecting them. Likewise, if you are in Canada, inflation too as well will affect you. Canada is not as people would paint it to be. You understand, the end of all calamities or the end of all problems or issues. But there's, so to speak, a reduction of the monies that you are going to be paying, the stress you are going to be undergoing, and you understand a lot of things that is the third world country is categorized with. So if you look at my analogy now, the question that I feel I should be answering is not related to inflation. It shouldn't be related to inflation because he asked the question, is it worth going to Canada keeping in mind high inflation out there? The high inflation as at December, I told you, is 4.6% in Canada. But in Nigeria, it is what? It is 21.9%. And if we were to take it down to the main, to the world in general, the world in general, the inflation in the world currently that we have in like other countries, first world countries and things like that, it is always around about 13.2% to 17.8%, like some other countries as we actually have had it and seen it right there. But still, there is always, or there are always reductions in the kind of inflation we have in the world now, especially the kind of inflation we have in Canada and first world countries as regard as compared to the kind of inflation we have in Nigeria. We can be wrong, you understand, or I can be wrong, but I think numbers would always be right. Numbers will always tell you what is going on. So I think the question we are meant to be asking ourselves is that is it what is not the question we are meant to be asking ourselves is that is not is it worth going to Canada keeping in mind the high inflation out there? That should not be the question. That should be the question we should be asking rather is it worth staying back in a country like Nigeria, keeping the high opportunities out there to make better money? You understand, better income for ourselves in order to be able to pay and to afford the amount of high inflation we have in Nigeria. I think that should be our bigger question that we are meant to be asking. So, if you are someone that don't want to leave the country because of high inflation, no problem. If you are making maybe like 200,000, 500,000, up to a million in a month, no problem. You are okay. You are good to go. You can still remain in Nigeria or in other third world countries. But if you feel you want to make more money, though, as we always say, the fact that you make more money doesn't mean that you get to keep, you understand, all of it. You will still pay some in taxes in Canada and things like that, but still you still have money. You still have you still be able to keep a lot of your income and even invest some of those income to high paying, you understand, income generating assets. So thank you very much. If you enjoyed today's Q&A session, like this video, share with your friends, and also hit on the notification bar to get updated anytime we drop a content. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you very much, and I do hope to see you in the next